Welcome back. The annual scramble is on for places at institutions of higher learning, but for many young people, their options are limited. Even after years of education, many South Africans will struggle to get a job. Well, one intervention is responding to the fact that many young people are battling to settle down and become consistent contributors to the economy for many reasons. EmpowaYouth is confronting the gig or phanda economy, where people have a couple of side hustles or gigs, as they're called, rather than a permanent job, 8 hours a day, several days a week. To discuss, we're joined by the Transport Education Training Authority spokesperson, that's Sabelo Mbuku. Mr. Mbuku, thank you for being with us. Firstly, what do you think about the so-called gig economy in South Africa? Young people trying to do a lot of things. Maybe they enjoy that, or maybe they just can't get those consistent jobs and find a career path, which used to be the norm.
Currently, we're looking at the high rate of unemployment in the country, and that then needs to ignite a different way of thinking, or a shift in how we think. To think that there will be perhaps an employment waiting for you somewhere, it might not be correct based on the statistics that we have. So gig economy, if there are opportunities where you can create your own opportunities, where you are able to work, whether it's fewer hours on those projects that you are getting, let it be. And that is why as Transport Education Training Authority, TETA in short, we are encouraging young people to start thinking differently. And for us, this EmpowaYouth program, it is a vehicle that we believe we can use to sensitize young people and make sure that they are empowered with knowledge and skills that will enable them to participate in a profitable manner. That is why we are hosting these EmpowaYouth sessions.
How do they help? What does it entail?
Basically, if you look at a community of Orange Farm where we started last year, around May, about over 10,000 young people were exposed to various opportunities. We're talking about, the last mile delivery, where young people can be trained in new venture creation. So that means they are enabled to run a business. Then secondly, they would then get training for them to obtain a license to drive or ride a motorbike. Now with that, they are able then to get contracts with the e-commerce industry for the distribution or the delivery of some of the goods. And for us, we see that as a low-hanging fruit that young people can venture into, because the e-commerce business is booming in the country. So these, for us, are opportunities that are there, and where we can lay a hand and assist young people with training and the necessary skills. We have seen the results.
And that sounds great, very practical. We know that having a license does open up further job opportunities. So how do young people get into the system and enjoy the benefits? Do you have a recruitment process?
Yeah, basically now we are in Vryheid in KwaZulu-Natal. That is where we will be doing a live activation of the EmpowaYouth program, and young people are actually encouraged then to register using EmpowaYouth.co.za. That would be www.empowaYouth.co.za. So that's the platform that they can use to register, and then select the days that they would prefer to attend. On the day, it's 26, 27, 28. So if you look at that, we will be having forestry. That is a session focused on forestry. Various departments and entities that are in that space will be available to share relevant information that young people then can begin to apply to, whether it be internships or learnerships or other opportunities for entrepreneurs. And then you have health and wellness, as well as tourism, agriculture, and transport. These are the focus areas for the next 3 days, 26, 27, and 28. And for us, we believe that if young people then mobilize themselves like that, and make sure that they get the necessary information to ensure that they venture into these various opportunities. Perhaps those that would want to inquire later, let me share the number so that they can have a WhatsApp number where they can inquire: 076 578 4624. That is the number that they can use to also inquire, to ensure that they get the relevant information on each of the days that we will be here in Vryheid.
All right, so we'll see if we can bring up that WhatsApp number, and let me just confirm the spelling of EmpowaYouth, EmpowaYouth. EmpowaYouth. So it would be www.empower, not ER, but WA-Youth. Should we be concerned? In South Africa, there's been some critique that there are always opportunities offered, or internships, or get involved in this, but it's very short term. I know somebody who has a lot of experience, who traveled overseas, was given training through a government initiative, but still doesn't have a job.
Look, Francis, we don't have control over what employers would dictate when they want to employ one. However, what we have seen is that experience, or the number of years in terms of experience, is one of the requirements. So if you then go through internship programs, it does assist to build that experience, which is then the requirement for most of entry jobs. So for us, we can then make the contribution in terms of skills development and training, but then it wouldn't be practical for us to tie ourselves into how then employers begin to advertise and employ those that have gone through the system. But we can only encourage that the efforts that we are putting in, can they then please consider them as added value as they wish to employ these young people.
Yeah, like I said, it does sound really practical. What's happening in the transport space while we have you? What's happening with training there? And the reason I ask is because after truck accidents, there's been a lot of debate around truck drivers getting the training they need. We know that rail services basically demolished in South Africa, trying to pick up. And what are the efforts around developing skills in that area as well?
Basically, we've got a program that has been running for quite a number of years, professional driving, which is then targeted obviously to the truck drivers, the bus drivers, even the taxi drivers. So obviously, if you go through the program, there are specific unit standards that address issues of customer care, and at times you would find that there is specialized training for the transportation of dangerous goods. So all of these programs are geared towards sensitizing and creating the necessary awareness and skill to those that are driving. However, we would not then conclude as to what are the reasons that lead to these accidents. If it could be training or negligence, these are things that we need to figure and pinpoint that these are the issues that we need to address. Because in our road safety campaigns, for instance, we focus more on creating the necessary awareness, targeting the behavior change. And for us, we can only do as much, but the one sitting behind the wheel, what is happening with them when they become inconsiderate of those that are using the road? Those are the issues that we then need to nickel down and get to really understand, because our efforts in terms of creating the necessary awareness are out there, but then the behavior change, it's an individual thing.
Yeah. All right, maybe we can chat about that in future, but we appreciate you touching on that. From the Transport Education Training Authority, the spokesperson, Sabelo Mbuku there.